Hi, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to be doing the Music by Numbers thread, which is put up by Jack from the CD Cave. Hi, Jack. Thanks for putting up this really cool thread. It's been a lot of fun putting it together, and I know you're pushing for the 50 new subscribers. Well, I'm one of your subscribers, and I hope you get the other 49, or I might have actually subscribed before then. Who knows? Whatever. Anyway, I'll leave a link below to the original post by Jack, and let's get this underway, shall we? So, what is the basic premise here? Well, the basic premise is to show 10 albums, and the first one needs the number one in its title, in its cover, in its lyrics, in its song titles. You get the picture. The second one has to have two, third one, three, etc. So I chose this album, and it's as my number one, and it is Michael Frank's, and it's One Bad Habit. And this is a cool album. Now, if you didn't expect me to pull out this album, then you're just about thinking to turn off. This is the only album like this that I'll be producing today. And I love it. It came out in 1980. There's the flip side. There's old Michael getting ready and going, etc. 1980, and it's on the Warner Brothers label. You know, the stock standard one. And it's really cool. I love the first track. You won't be able to see it up here. Maybe you can. But it's called Baseball. And I'm into baseball, as you can probably tell by by my regalia, and a proud San Francisco Giants fan. But apart from that, it's a great play on words with this song Baseball because of the innuendo that goes along with it. Everyone sings home of the brave and land of the free. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You've had 20 wins and one save, and now you're up against me. Now, if that seems like the sort of song that should be coming out of an elevator, you might be right, except of the quirky nature of the lyrics and also some really gnarly guitar in the intro by David Spinoza, and the bass by Neil Jason is fantastic as well. So we've got that of the guitar, which is so gnarly, and the bass is going woo woo. It's really cool. And if you want some more Michael Franks, which is really cool, I can't find it, but I'll show a picture right up there. And it's Michael Franks when he came to Australia, and he played with Crossfire, who was an Australian jazz funk band, and they supported him. And that music really got a heartbeat. It really got a life. And I recommend that to you. You can get it still pretty cheap. Number two is an interesting one because it's old Percy. And it is The Principle of Moments by Robert Plant. And there we go. He's dipping his toes right into the new wave scene here. And we've got the album cover on the back. There we go. And it's from 1983. How are we doing on that? No, we're not good. I'm getting better at this now. And it's on the Esperanza record label, and that's his record label. And here's the interesting thing about this. I have 0 Led Zeppelin albums in my collection. I used to have them all, but I gave them away in the big purge of 95 or whenever it was. But I've never replaced them. Anyway, I was wandering through a secondhand record shop the other day, and I thought, there it was. I saw this album. And I don't know whether I've ever had it. I don't think so. And I don't even know whether I've ever listened to it. But I thought to myself, oh, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. You know, Robert Plant's kind of cool. I like the guy. He's funny. He's very cool. I mean, let's face it, he's the golden god, isn't he? But I thought to myself, I'm going to pick this up and see what it's all about. Now, a friend of mine said to me, this sunburnt sailor said, who's a massive Led Zeppelin fan, that he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle the sight of Robert wearing the pirate shirt and the electric blue silk short long pants or shirts or whatever though. But I have no qualms. I'll sell out pretty quickly. And so I put it on, and the first thing that hit me was the production. He's delved deeply into the 80s production, and it's too much synth for me. But anyway, I've got to remember that this one is called, we're pulling this out for the two, because it's got Through with the two-step on it, which opens up side 2. Through with the two-step. And immediately this comes up. There's a great song lurking in here, Robert. It's fantastic. Strip all the synths off, get out of the 80s, and put it back the way it could be. It's a fantastic, maybe he has. Led Zeppelin fans can surely tell me that. But it's a great song, and I really absolutely dig it. And there's a super cool solo by Robbie Blunt. And, he got a lot of praise for Big Log. And but let me tell you, and those guitar chords on In the Mood. But let me tell you that on Through with the two-step, that's where the magic absolutely shines. And Robert sings with feeling. And he's got the line which opens it up, I think, once for the money, but I'm through with the show. I've seen versions of it live, and it's twice as long. It doesn't need to be. It's great on the album if you can just sort of get rid of those synth sounds a bit. It's not his fault. It's not the synth player's fault. It was the 80s, my God. Let's move on to 3. And top 5 band of all time for me is, of course, Underworld. And this is one of the albums that they put out where you could actually sort of work out what it was by looking at the cover. You could see it was Underworld, 100 Days Off. And, you know, that wonderful, encouraging, large font that it gives us continues on the back. But the song I'm after is Dinosaur Adventure 3D. Dinosaur Adventure 3D. Look at that. Would you just look at that? It's beautiful, it's industrial, it's sublime. And both of the inner covers come with exactly the same sort of care for detail. Look at that. It could be Metallica. It could be AC/DC. It could be Spinal Tap. But no, it's Underworld. I'll just give you a couple of minutes to read all that. Okay, you've had enough time now. Beautiful. And we continue. This is on the, I should have said it at the start. There we go. Continue with that big print there. They're contrary. I love them for it. This was released as part of all the Underworld reissues that have come out, and not before time. 2025 on Smith Hyde Productions. And I'm so glad they came out. You know, I used to have this album. In fact, it's the album I've spent the most on Discogs acquiring for my collection. I won't tell you how much it was. And it's also the worst disparity between what they described it as being and what it actually was. They said it was near mint. It was very good at best. And so I had an original, and I gave that to the Sunburst sale. He's been giving me lots of things. And I'm more than happy just to have the reissue in my collection. It's unbelievable. It's a full-on slinky rave up. It just is a... But, you know, we'll come to that in a second. But it's got that, and then halfway through we get these beautiful... So it's instrumental until the halfway point where we get Carl coming in with his Imagist poetry. It's sublime. It's beautiful. It's great. Now, if the idea turns you off a bit, and I can see how it would, it's not my sort of favorite thing in the world. So that's why I only listen to Underworld doing these things. But a great entry point to Underworld on this album. Here I am, stupidly putting up the titles. Track 3 is 2 Months Off, and track 5, I think it is Little Speaker. 2 Months Off is like one of their very big songs, and Little Speaker is a song which I think has been neglected and over the years, but they both feature vocals from Don't You Dare. No, not now. I'm going so well in this video. Who is it? Juanita, and it's spoken vocals are absolutely brilliant. Number 4, rocking through them today, is Sebastian Hardy's album 4 Moments, and this is from 1975. This is an Australian copy, and it's on the Polydor label. And there it is. We know that one. And here's the only thing this album really has going against it. It's a gatefold. And look at this wonderful picture we have of the boys. Look at this wonderful picture. Now, if that's not enough to turn people on, I don't know what is. But it is a great album. It is seriously good. Now, what does it sound like? Sebastian Hardy, this album sounds like Yes. Symphonic like Yes. They are Australia's Yes. And this was the first of 3 albums they did. This was the first one called 4 Moments. Then they did Wind Chase. And then they changed their name to Wind Chase and put out an album called Symfinity. And then they got back together. And I think they've released one through their own website or something like that. But trust me, this is the one. If you like Yes, and you particularly something like Close to the Edge, and you have never heard Sebastian Hardy's 4 Moments, do yourself a favor and get it. It's like this was their one shot in the gun for success. They fired it. They didn't miss. It is absolutely brilliant. Do you know what? Yes came to Australia in fact, I'm going to go and get my ticket. Well, that took forever. I had to go to my ticket book and pull it apart, pull pages apart. I became frantic. I felt that if I couldn't produce the ticket, then everybody would think I'm a phony, a fake, a fraud. But there it is. On the Full Circle tour, the 30th anniversary, the Sydney Opera House, no longer with us, in Sydney, funnily enough. But anyway, you know, my mates and I, we were so knowledgeable. Sebastian Hardy supported Yes on that tour. and Sebastian Hardy played before Yes, and we spent the time drinking a couple of beers and saying, we don't need to see the support act, do we? And it was only later that we found out that these guys have been brilliant in supporting Yes. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think I've told that story on the channel before, so doubling up, and I feel pretty bad about that. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go on to number 5 here, and number 5 is that guy. Well, that's not his name. You know what his name is. And the song I'm interested here is obviously Five Believers. Now, this came out in 1966, as you know, and this is the 2010 Music on Vinyl repress. And I've got to say, I absolutely love it. I'm not going to, well, do I need to show the gatefold? There we go. Nice. And when I take out the sleeves, we're going to, yeah, it's Columbia. Oh, there you go, you might be interested. Columbia. And it's the song, as I said, is obviously Five Believers. And when I was listening to this for the first time in a couple of months, I would say, I thought, God, we're going back to Maggie's farm here, aren't we? It's really interesting. Robbie Robertson absolutely shreds all the way through this. And the song is lifted by this band, the explosion, the power here. And I love it. Now, it's interesting. It came straight after Fourth Time Around, which is this beautiful ballad. And I always wondered who recorded their song first. Was it Bob Dylan doing Fourth Time Around, or was it the Beatles doing Norwegian Wood? And it was the Beatles. So maybe there has been a little bit of an influence. We've got that tender, aching ballad of Fourth Time Around. And then the next song after, obviously, Five Believers is Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. So this is the big shot. So we've got Fourth Time Around, obviously Five Believers, and we should have had Six-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. What would a Six-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands look like? Let's go to the insect world, if we can find a six-eyed insect there. Well, I don't really know how that works, because I was trying to do this sort of art of video recording and make it seem like it was impromptu, whether it was spontaneous. But I don't know whether I found one. So there could be a big empty nothing up there, or maybe a Rickenbacker guitar and a beautiful Fender Starcaster. Two of those, aren't they beautiful? I love them. That's my art gallery up there. Well, maybe there's a picture of something with six eyes. Anyway, I may cut this later out of the video. I don't know. Maybe I'm just waffling on too much. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. We're just going to play it by ear. Anyway, what have we got? Wonderful song, obviously, Five Believers. Yes, I could make it without you, but if I just didn't feel so all alone. Great. I love that song. Great album. One of my very favorite Bob albums. That's for sure. Number 6. This is a band that I've just been getting into more and more and more. It's the New Zealand band. They're called Split Ends. This is Time and Tide. And you can see on the front there, our song here for number 6 is 6 Months on a Leaky Boat. And gee, this is a good band. I'm going to do some deep dives into 3 of their albums, I think, maybe 4. True Colours, Corroboree, and Time and Tide. Fantastic. As the years go on, I love them absolutely more and more. And it's just on the Mushroom label, the Australian label. Great, absolutely wonderful song. And the single's not too shabby either. And the reason why have I got the single if I've already got the album? Well, it's because of this flip side called Fire Drill. Chuck it into YouTube and give it a listen. You will absolutely love it. It's almost got a psychedelic layer to it from Split Ends. Anyway, 6 Months in a Leaky Boat. When did it come out? 1982 on the Mushroom label, as we said. It was the second single off that album, and I really loved the first one, which is Dirty Creature. Absolutely wonderful. They're an interesting band because, of course, Tim Finn was sort of the leader. He was Split Ends, and then his brother Neil came into the band, and wow, didn't they? Those two mesh brilliantly, but it did change the sound. Anyway, six Months on a Leaky Boat. It was banned in the BBC by the BBC in England and hardly played because they felt that it was some sort of a polemic against the Falklands War and the 6 months in a leaky boat. Why have we got leaky boats, etc., etc.? But it is absolutely brilliant. Tim's singing is an absolute treat. There's 2 absolutes for you there. It's an absolute treat. I've just done it 3 times. But what I would really recommend you listening to, if you would like to, is the last 60 seconds to 90 seconds, where everything comes down to just Tim pretty much singing along with its beautiful piano progression, and it becomes wistful and mournful and earnest and yearning, and it's just one of the most amazing pieces of music you are ever likely to hear. So that's 6 Months on a Leaky Boat by Split Ends. Ooh, getting on to number 7. This is another album that I've shown before, and I'm going to show it right now. It's Dan Reed Network's Slam. And I don't mind that I've shown it before because I will champion this album until the cows come home. Until the cows come home. Where they're coming from, I don't know. Where have they been? I don't know. There's an interesting theatre sport to be played there. Where do the cows go when they go away, and when do they come? When are they going to come back home, and why are they coming back home? Anyway, it doesn't matter. From the moment you put this on your turntable or your CD, you're going to hear that it is funk rock, particularly from the 1980s. And I think we're talking about 1989. It's a US copy, this one, and it is on Mercury. You've got those lovely swirling lyrics, which are really easy to read, particularly this one down here. And on the back, we've got some further pictures of the band. If you didn't know that, is Dan Reed there. And the album is on Mercury, just the stock standard Mercury album. Beautiful. But it is produced by Nile Rodgers, and that's what really takes it over the top for me with its great funk. If you put it on your turntable and you leave it, let it stay on there for too long a period, or put it in your car and stream it, you're never going to want to stop listening to it. It's one of those albums which just will rise out of the ordinary, the abyss of the ordinary, the lake, the pond of the ordinary, and it will become something special for you. Or maybe that's just my experience, and who knows about that. Anyway, definitely. So what's the song? Damn it. I almost got to be careful about these things. Now I can't get back to it. Where is it? It's gone. Anyway, the song is the closer, and it's called Seven Sisters Road. Now, there is a Seven Sisters Road in London, which I've been down a number of times, so maybe that is the road they're referring to. But it's a great closer. It's got the real funk, and, one of great lyrics like, well, she wasn't one of your, start it again. Well, she wasn't one of your typical saloon type girls, well, down on Seven Sisters Road, but you wouldn't take her home to your mother or your brother. Did 3 chord changes, key changes in that, and so I should give myself a penalty and a slap on the hand for too many key changes in there. But it's great. Chuck it on. Seven Sisters Road from Dan Reed Network Slam. You won't be sad that, or maybe you will. I don't know. Music's a beautiful thing. Number 8 is from this album, Dalek Eye Compass Compass. And the track is, where is it? 8 track, which is this rollicking, cool track, which I absolutely love, straight out of the album Stardust, glam sort of tradition. And this is on the UK Backdoor album, UK pressing on the Backdoor label. There it is. It is polyline, which is very nice of them. But it's much more quirky and it's much cooler than sort of your stock standard glam and your album Stardust. These guys really brought some interesting ideas in their arrangements, in their production. And they might not be the most brilliant musicians of all time, but they got some great ideas. I really recommend to you sort of like the title track, the one that would be interesting in terms of where the band went next. But this song is called Destiny, Dalek, I Love You. And on this side, we've got a brilliant deconstruction of You Really Got Me by the Kinks. Fantastic. And then the last track on the album is called Missing 15 Minutes. And that is just completely bonkers and out there. And I adore it. But the interesting thing about the Missing 15 Minutes is it only goes for 5 minutes 41. So where's the missing 13 minutes and 19 seconds? That's what I want to know. I'd like to hear it. Anyway, Dalek Eye with Compass Compass. Absolutely brilliant. I love that one. And now we're going on to 9. Number 9. I could have gone with number 9. But instead I went with Hooverphonic. Isn't that a cool looking cover? Especially when it says up here, a new stereophonic sound spectacular. Well, they've got a lot to live up to there, and particularly with a name like Hooverphonic. Well, the track that I'm really interested in here is track 7, which is called Number 9. Well, I don't know what that's all about. Anyway, these guys are out of Belgium, and this came out in 1996, and it's on the Music on Vinyl repress, which sounds absolutely wonderful. It does have an inner as well with the lyrics, and I love that. I think that's really cool. That's almost as cool enough to be Underworld, isn't it? If you want to know what it sounds like, I got into Hooverphonic when I started to do a deep dive into trip hop, and there's definitely elements throughout this album like that. Also, sort of, we've got some sort of dreamy pop. What's the other one? Ambient pop. And it becomes really clear, interestingly enough, that we get some edge as the song starts, and then we have the dreamlike vocals of, where are we? Lisa Sidonius. And Her voice is so beautiful and sublime, serene, all those other words that start with S. You know, want to know what that is. Anyway, and her voice is absolutely wonderful. But then when we sort of get to the choruses, we have that interruption, if you like, that discombobulating nature of the heavy synths, and then it comes back out into this dreamy ambient pop, trip hoppy sort of stuff, and it really works. Written by Alex Hillier, who does the keyboards and the programming. I can heartily recommend this one to you, Hoover Phonic. Don't be disappointed by the band name. And there we go. But we've got one more to go, I think. 10. Our 10th track, and I am going, and nothing else. I'm going with the mystery, I've got the wrong way up. The 10 record monstrosity, The Mystery Box by Frank Zappa. And of course, this is a bootleg which is brought out on Nifty, Tough and Kitchen Records, came out in 1986. And I remember a friend of mine, or somebody, an acquaintance at the time, had this 10 album box set. So there's where the 10 comes from. 10 album box set. And I asked whether I could borrow it to have a listen to the whole thing in full, rather than just pick out a few songs on a particular night. He said, sure, go for it. And I've never seen him again. So I suppose I'm getting the pleasure out of that, which is okay. But what it is I always thought it was just a live album, but a sort of live bootlegs. But it's live. Am I upside down? God, what are you doing to me, Frank? And it's not Frank. There's there's live sections, there's demos, there's outtakes from all periods, pretty much, of Zappa's career, and sort of you can dip in whenever you want. And the albums are arranged into some sort of thematic consistency. So, and it sounds great. Really great. In fact, probably after this video, I'm going to go and look at Crush All Boxes, this one up here, because it's got a lot of songs from the You Are What You Is period, and I really dig that. Anyway, it's nearly 8 hours of music, so that's like a day's work getting through it. Doesn't matter. So much pleasure to be had from that. And remember, if music of any size, shape, sound, or split ends gives you pleasure, then who am I to argue with your opinion? Thanks so much, Jack, for putting this thread together. Jack from the CD Cave, and I hope you got those 50 subscribers. And I'm looking forward to getting more into some split ends, listening to some Zappa, and getting on with it, because this has been an absolute blast talking to you. And if you'd like to hear any more of my music reviews, there should be somewhere about there for you to indulge and enjoy. Anyway, until next time, I'm Brian. Hope you're doing really well, staying cool, and bye now.